get better.
Hold on a second, Sha. I just want to call out real quick. How dare you say that I would not want Benji and Savage not to do well because of practice? How dare you? That is a violation. I'll be honest though, you know, not everybody is Benji, Fishy, and Savage. Not everyone has played since World Cup. You know, they're not going to have that sort of, you know, chemistry. So, you know, you still need your practice kits. Please don't kill my server.
We'll see exactly how things roll in. Practice or no practice, Clement and Floki have had enough of experience, at least, at Chonkers, at just playing inside this round 3 of qualifiers. And over again, it seems as though they get right there at the precipice of greatness. It's just that qual line, but then fall a little bit short. See what happens now. They're leading the lobby through. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, these early game fights at Chonkers, they are tough. They're very low material count fights. They're basically 50-50. I see a lot of teams land south and north side and splitting it, but this time Lechi not wanting to split it, and that is his demise here as he gets taken out. But Link there is very nearby, needs to be careful because, Floki needs to be careful here because Link is creeping up.
It's always this situation at Chonkers. You feel like you've done such a good job overall. You've won a big fight, and then an entire new duo comes in that's usually even more stacked, finding a little bit of more luck inside these chests, getting the weapons they need exactly, and you're going to be a little bit damaged on that fight before as well. Coming to so low, Floki has to do anything and everything he can on this defense, but they have limited materials as well. This entire game just started. You can see it on this player as well. 97 not gonna have too much to use. Gets inside one of the whiplashes that's buffed up with those tires, but doesn't really have his license right there. He's still trying to drive past these trees. Link doesn't have a tire. I think these guys are better off running.
I mean, this is what you get when you give kids a car. You do not want them to be behind the wheel of a very, very fast car there. And interesting for them to disengage in this position. I wonder if they saw something that I didn't, because if I'm looking at the map there, bottom right, I only see a team very nearby, but no one was sort of aggressing towards that spot. So not really sure why they actually want to disengage, but I guess they do not want to sort of risk the game here this early on, trying to go down. You know, they have good loot. You know, you can, like I said last time, you can split the spot with 3 different teams. You can come up completely fine, so.
Definitely want that damage as well. Sometimes you find an easy third-party opportunity, and an easy third-party opportunity is just double the easy, because third-partying is what you want to do inside these modes. Nova, though, is going to try his best interpretation of starting a fight. It's not going to be received that well, though. Hardfine has to force himself to a door edit. It looks like all the hitters are struggling right now. Those extra 2 seconds might have made a difference inside that shot, but Hydro's going to be there anyways to kind of defend and get the trade. Now an entire new duo is rolling in. The Siphon match are there from Belusi and Hydro, but the damage, it's kind of taken its toll. The shield's not there for this fight. They have to back off. They have to heal.
That was a little bit too close there with that SMG tracking there for Hardfine. I mean, those guys, they struggled for Surge last game. This time, I guess they tried to go a little bit more aggressive, but it did not work out for them, and Belusi takes them out very swiftly. But Boofink here and Bevies, they are very, very close by, and this is the issue with fighting on spawn. You do not want to have a prolonged fight, and you see, bottom right, the timer. This fight has been going on for about 4 minutes, right? So it gives other teams more than enough time to loot up very slowly, get the material count up, and come to third-party Shio. As Bevies, with this Ranger assault rifle on the high ground, it's not going to do too much damage. He does have that Stinger in his inventory, but they're hiding. They don't want to show themselves yet, and I think that's a smart move, because you got to be a little bit scared of your Bevies here, because you don't want to be creeping in towards enemy builds and then just run into the face of a shotgun or something like that.
Absolutely, he has an arsenal of assault rifles right there. It's like 3 inside the inventory. Stinger SMG to pack a punch as well if he gets close, but he is looking to deal a little bit more damage before he gets rolling in. I like the fact that he's using his ammunition to kind of give himself a medium range engagement instead of being really close to the wall with the pickaxe. He has so many magazines to go through in doing this. Meanwhile, Malibu and Mustache, they're going to have a little bit of a rough time on their own. Some friction off of spawn at Camp Cuddle. Lots of different teams around them, but they seem to be handling it pretty well.
Comme c'est écrit dans le titre, c'est les FNCS. C'est la compétition qui se déroule là en ce moment.
Havix gets taken out there, and I think his teammate Smecky was taken out very early on. And this is fine for Malibuka, especially if we consider the zone here. It looks like the zone does pull far bottom right. But those are one of the worst ones for Malibuka and Mercers. We've seen them struggle with these far eastern zones a lot of the time. So I think they're happy to have the surge from this position, so they can just farm it out now, get the material count up, and they can put themselves in a good spot going into this mid-game.
It's all about the damage. Bevies takes a big shot himself, down to 150 HP. I like the fact that he's staying up high a little bit, denying a lot of angles. And as a result, also clearing the fact that there's no other third parties around him. He would have got shot at some point. So he can really focus on this low ground fight. They have a huge pinch with Fink here on the left side as well. And they are actually finally dealing damage. Hydro loses his shield.
Yeah, and you do really want to be careful in these early game fights. And you see, you know, they're taking that strategy of basically just spraying from far away, evaluating the situation, and kind of seeing what comes to fruition. Because you don't want to just start smacking walls all of a sudden. You don't know if these guys have very low material counts. They're going to instantly edit out onto your face and then try to pump you or run with an SMG. You know, you got to be a little bit careful here. There we go. There comes the
en fait, c'est des compétitions qui se déroulent.
You got to be so careful. You got to evaluate the situation.
C'est des compétitions qui se déroulent chez FNCS. Il y a d'autres personnes qui sont venues regarder. C'est la discussion des mecs là qui m'empêche de parler. On m'entend pas bien. Je peux pas le retirer, dommage.
I mean, their inventory is not looking too hot.
Not at all. And even though this is kind of drastic on the side of Fink as just being a solo player, you have to realize, yeah, it's not the worst and not the, you know, absolutely disastrous situation that Hydro's in, because they've got no build whatsoever. Now, though, two players coming in, fully shielded out, full mats. This is where Fink's in a little bit of trouble.
And this is exactly why Link and default, they disengage very early on in chonkers, right? This is the exact same reason. You saw this team try to third party that fight over there at the Butterbond split. They got eliminated by the third party. Link and default now, they realize that is such an option near chonkers. There's so many teams around there. There's a lot of those rifts as well nearby that you can just get landed on by, so you got to be careful. As we move on to a replay here by Crawl, back yet again at the boat spawn, and I guess these guys are just committing to landing boat, which is surprisingly enough, as we have Kiko, and I mentioned them being uncom, but looks like this time someone landed on them, and Gooden and his duo, they're taking out Kiko and Marsh very early on. Unfortunately, not a
bon,
good game.
Le nomade, je peux pas participer parce qu'il faut être en équipe pour participer. Et vu que moi, mon équipe, ils sont chauds soi-disant, mais quand on les parle de compète, personne ne veut participer. Donc je peux pas participer pour le moment. Moi, mais je suis pas très fort non plus aussi. Donc,
around the map, and now we'll kind of transition to that point where we'll see a lot more bases, a little bit more farming finally as people get out of their spots as well. Janice, Seti, Savage, all on your screen right now.
Yeah, and look at the bottom left here, bottom right here for Savage and Benji. This zone is pretty good for them in terms of surge tags. There's a lot of mountains on this north side. There's a big body of water that can hold out on players. But, you know, they got to get out of tilted soon enough because they're going to miss a lot of opportunities. And teams realize how hard this zone is to play. You know, this southern zone near Rocky Views, there's so many mountains. You do not want to be late here as Benji and Savage, you know, with 3 minutes left to go until the zone is closed. They're finally coming out now, so I'm not really sure how much tags they got in, and they may have gotten a few off spawn to justify this sort of late rotate out of this draw spot. But as you can see, teams are now outside of this mountain near tilted, and they're kind of stuck down here, Shayo.
Yeah, it's kind of rough, close and personal. It's kind of funny too because you're trying to get out and then you're tossed into these wacky situations. EU in general has been kind of wacky as well. You'd assume some people would be landing snipes, but you just saw that stat on screen. 4 pickaxe eliminations. I mean, off spawn is getting that crazy. People don't have weapons. They're going for that disrespectful swing.
Yeah, you don't really want to run a sniper. There's so much you can carry in your inventory this season. You know, you have your peppers, you have those shield kits that Benji's carrying. Interesting enough, he has 2 in his inventory. You don't really see that too often, but those are great. Shayo, did you know you can throw a shield keg on a car and it works?
Really?
Drive with it. I don't know if they patched it, but I'm pretty sure they did. I mean, some of these cool things get patched very quickly, you know, but, you know, it used to be a thing, so maybe it's still possible to do it, but, you know, I don't think you're going to be risking it in the finals here because you don't want to be testing out that thing in the final situation. You're just going to do what you know, and what Janus and Vortex do know here is aggression as they try to jump near this team of Anas and Pink. And Anas and Pink, they are the opposite of aggression, I have to say. You know, these guys have some of the lowest average eliminations in any sort of lobby, in any sort of final. And, you know, Janus and Vortex, you know, they don't know it's them, so they disengage. If they did know it was them, maybe they would want to, you know, get a piece of them, but I don't know, Shayo.
Yeah, they're kind of like the hot knife, and then you see Pink is kind of like the butter, right? But both teams are in a dark kitchen, so they're not going to be able to know exactly who is who. And luckily, no one gets sliced in half. Vortex and Janice end up prioritizing position, which is very smart. And sometimes we see that. We saw it a lot in the history of FNCS. These aggressive teams get a little bit too into that mindset and end up kind of spiraling their game, tunnel visioning on that aggression. It's really cool to see Janice and Vortex not only play so well, but know when to turn on the aggression and then turn it off and go for position.
Yeah, and that's sort of a thing that comes back to mentality, right? These guys, you know, you have something practiced. Let's say you get a coach, and your coach tells you need to box up in this spot, you need to go over here to get storm surge tags. But when you're in the moment, you are in fight or flight response mode, and basically all that happens gets thrown out the window. You know, there's that. I don't know exactly what the saying is, something about being punched in the face and you don't know what's happening, but you know that's exactly that sort of feeling. You know, you're gonna be going for the aggression. That's what you know. That's what you know. That's what you've done before. And I guess Vortex and Janus said they're trying to do that yet again, but you know they do have a little bit of restraint as we see Joe and Benno. They only have 2 eliminations. Interesting enough, Shayo.
Yeah, they're going in. The word for that for me is frazzled. When you get frazzled, you get a little bit jostled in the brain. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know exactly what I'll be honest. I might need to open a dictionary here on the second one.
Get a lesson from Levin, right? This man has like 3 dictionaries rolled up. Yeah, young Shakespeare with the 5-syllable words, but we'll see how it goes. Although, hold up. So this is a little trick as well. That's what it is. You got to wait a few seconds for the threshold update. I always have a knee-jerk reaction to seeing a team below surge, but Benji and Savage, this one is solidified. 22 below.
Yeah, and that's what I said, right? They took way too long to get out of tilted towers. Another 22 below surge, right? Everyone that they wanted to get tags on is already rotated past them. And, you know, there's a few teams still behind them. They're waiting right outside of zone because they know that they can get most of the tags outside of zone here. But, you know, they're going to be in a tough spot. And I feel like, you know, I hate to bring up practice, but this is where experience comes back into, is that these sort of situations. Or maybe I'm just, you know, maybe I'm just trying to push my agenda just a little bit too much.
Now we'll see how it goes. 22 above now. It seems like when it's Benji and Savage, the world just aligns for them in certain moments. And right now, it kind of has to. You see that beam from the sky. That's not a visual error at all. When you're watching things on broadcast right now, we have this thing whenever we're inside this big overarching drone shot. You can see exactly who's in first place. You can even see the bottom left right now. It's a new addition of this season. The team and the number beside them is actually their live leaderboard spot in-game for the moment. So after that first one, it's Benji and Savage. That's team number 1 in first place. We go to the other side of the board. That's a magnet all the way down to the South Pole. In 31st, it's Analex X-Squeeze.
Yep, 8 below here, and this was actually a decent zone for Alex and X-Squeeze, surprisingly enough, but you know, they are going to get pushed here, so that's a blessing in disguise for them. You know, you always love it when you're below surge and the team pushes you because, you know, you're on the back foot, but they have to run into you, so you know you're going to get guaranteed tags. Benji Savage meet them 174 above surge, managed to get it, and you did see that you utilized that shield keg, you know, to trade surge, because you're going to get a lot of surge shield back from that shield keg, so you're able to trade a lot of surge, take 50-50s, and that's a free shield and surge spot there coming out there.
Absolutely. It's all about that balance. You might be even asking back home, kind of looks different from the game. Everyone plays themselves. Why aren't people pushing boxes all the time, 24/7, just going for the fights? You don't want to risk getting damaged yourself. Savage and Benji go for a quick drop down right there, but don't find that much success. They're going to stop a little bit because they need to make sure they temper their resources for the rest of the game. They also have a long ways to go. I count about 10 different teams in front of them, and this is a very good personification for what it looks like for everyone. The house is burning. Everyone's about to basically catch on fire. They need to move very soon. This is not a comfortable place to be in at all. Benji is in a world of hurt.
The roof is on fire. I mean, and unfortunately, that, you know, it does go back out. You know, I thought we were going to see some spicy things there. You know, it is sort of, you know, it's a little bit scary sometimes when they have fire all around your base because it makes your edits also a little bit weird. Sometimes you can't edit that wall, so you got to be a little bit careful. But if you take a look at the zone here, bottom around the map, you see zone pulls far yet again. So all of those north teams, you know, the teams that did well last game, Benji and Savage, and they tilted. Not a bad zone for them, but they're going to be one of the last teams to rotate too, and they don't have a car. They don't have any sort of rotates, and they have a team right next to them that's going to be holding them out for surge as well, as Jeff is having a little dive in zone here. Not sure what they're doing here, Shayo.
Might be a class down onto Analex and Squeeze. They might be down on surge and looking for a few angles. They seem kind of desperate. Seems like another, you know, predator hunting its prey situation, but Analex has basically an invisible radar on. He knows exactly what people are thinking. That's just the way he kind of plays the game. The fundamentals always just so strong in knowing what's around him, the awareness. So they find a quick pickup. They're going to keep moving.
Yep, but you know, the zone is tough for them. I mentioned the mountains, the hills. There's been so many kills on this edge, and Alex is the force pad, but everyone's eyes on them because I think the shield crack came out here. Alex is going to get sprayed up by everyone, and he's eliminated out of the air. XQ's being a very good teammate here, trying to pick him back up, but honestly, I don't think this is a move. I think you need to run away with the Spider-Man because people are going to be jumping in, and that's exactly what's going to happen. These Stinger SMGs coming in, they're jumping, they're going through, and XQ misses the low launch as well. He's panicking just a little bit. He gets pumped yet again, and his Spider-Man is going to reset. He's able to get past this side now, away from line of sight, but again, this team is being a bit of a nuisance here, Shayo.
He's got a few things to kind of delay a little bit of time, but they got web shooters of their own. Everyone here can beat Peter Parker today. This is going to be absolutely unfortunate for X-Squeeze. A big shot landed down, but it's not going to be enough when you have shotguns and SMGs and everything spraying at you. They leave a launch pad behind for many teams on that south side. Up towards the north, though, Savage and Benji still at a stalemate. They're not all the way in. About 10 more meters away is paradise for them, Boop. But I'm not sure if and a mirage as they go for this oasis inside the desert. Savage and Benji are just in trouble and barely even in.
Yep. I mean, this is a tough spot to be in. I mean, if you're always on the back foot, you're never going to find opportunities to get Surge either, right? You're going to have his top spot, and I mean, never mind. They're just going to find a player, just give it into that box, and maybe that's a bit of that luck you mentioned before, Shayo. All of a sudden, there's just a player in Benji's box, a quick little pump to the face, and that's a quick elimination there for Benji.
I'm telling you, they're following some sort of script every time there's a tough situation. Easy random siphon available for Benji and Savage. And I kind of also want to see what some of the other teams' positions are looking like right now as well. I mean, if you look at it, there's just a crescent moon of duos waiting around. Irizumi on the right side, Rayad there too. Let's look at second place and how their journey was going as well. They're on the same side as Benji and Savage. They left slightly later. This is that burned down house, and they get eliminated. So you're talking about what Benji and Savage need to do, Boop. They have so much more space now. The second place team behind them down. You can see the light, the beam shining on them from above. It's just showing them that, hey, you've got the spotlight. You're in first. How far can you go this game?
Yeah, and consistency is the name of the game. I mean, any sort of duo, they can just come back with a very high elimination game, right? We saw Floki do this last week, you know, a 13 elimination game, I believe, put him back into the top 8 position just off of one game. So even if you are below that top 20, top 30 place, just one good game here could put you back up. So you definitely don't want to be throwing the chances where you have very good situations here. And Benji Savage, they do get saved just a little bit here, Shayo.
Yes, they do. But on their left side, looking at them right now, Joe Vino, Irizumi and Leader as well. Two different duos that act as interrupters for a majority of teams in the season as they try to move. They try to pick you apart when you're on the move. So Savage and Benji have to be very careful. They don't have the web shooters. They don't have any aerial movement, but Savage's got the slides. He's got the moves. That was nice. 3 boxes and the time it takes to make one, and now Benji takes the lead. Look at the dynamic switching you have in between. A Savage needs to heal. Benji picks up the building portion of the duo.
And I love that. I love seeing these new mechanics coming out of these players, you know. Always a ton of creativity coming out of there. And that slide is just going to give you that extra inch to box up and be safe. Make your hitbox a little bit smaller so people can have a tough time shooting at you. But look at that. Somehow they know that it's Malibu and Mustache, and Malibu and Mustache trade back through. You know, these were their rivals back in the last season as Steamy Stacks, and somehow they sniffed them out. Maybe giving a little bit of revenge back on them, but, you know, they get a little bit back as well as Malibu and Mustache get a big trade. And Vortexia in the meantime and Castry, double controller duo, 145 below Surge, and I'm not surprised. Maybe they should have gone to those gyro controls, because this is not enough Surge tags.
Yeah, they might want to get a little bit of that aim factor in. We're looking at them right beside another box, but it's going to be a brick build. PKR knows exactly what's going down. They back all the way up. They have so much room. Big Vortexia in, and he gets slapped in the face. Castery denied immediately, too. That's 2 shots, 2 elims, and 2 big messages sent to that duo.
I love that. You know, the perfect timing shots. They knew when the wall was about to be broken. Boom, the pump to the face, and they just get eliminated. You know, that's also a little bit on them as well. You got to be a little bit careful on the timing. You do not want to leave it to the last minute when Surge is just about to pump. You got to be, you know, you got to set yourself up. You cannot do it right before. As Benji here, he sniffs out an opportunity, finds another good pump through, and look who has gotten 50-50 here, Shayo.
It's Benji and Savage. They have that 5th zone. It's landed right exactly where they are, and they found another body of heals to be used as well. They keep overreaching for a little bit of damage, for a little bit of position, and keep getting blessed with rewards in terms of heals as well. But the majority of the zone is not in right now. I see a few launch pads and Spider-Man swings going on the right side, where you can see just the left half of the word chalker on the mini-map. A lot of people are going to be swinging and flying in. Vino, of course, is in one of the best spots of the map. He's looking to keep pushing that position forward. That's exactly what you want to be doing in this situation. 2 launch pads as well. You talk about potential right now for Vino and Joe. They're both alive, Boop. It looks better than game 1, and I feel like they're about to pop off in this one.
I mean, this is just Covert Canyon loot, right? 2 launch pad, those 6 chili splashes, they have 3 big pots, 6 minis as well. It is a lot, and you know, they already have 3 eliminations as well, so what happened last game of the surge issues and obviously Veno going down early on is now going to be a little bit saved, and looks like if Veno is trying to take a peek at high ground here, and not a single team has height, and I don't think it's the right play to go for yet because they do have those 2 launch pads. You don't want to be using those materials to go up and waste them because you're going to be launch padding anyways. It's not going to give you too much. Those peppers, those splashes, sorry, are going to be good enough to play mid ground and then launch pad afterwards. And zone pulls bottom right towards Shank's side. So luckily for the majority of this lobby, it pulls back towards that congested side. So a lot of these guys can have a pretty easy access through. And knowing Veno and Joe, you know, he was looking at high ground. I expect him to fully land at high ground on the front side of zone. And actually, if you take a look, you'll be seeing this in this first moving here. Everyone on that north side, they're going to be launching first. They're going to be landing. Veno and Joe, they're going to be the last team to land. And that's when they're going to have the opportunity because they're able to extend that launch pad as far as possible. And then they save themselves so many materials because everyone's already on the floor, right? Everyone's already landed. So you have 0 risk of ever getting late landed on because you're the last team to launch pad, Shayo.
Absolutely. It's also a barren desert, a wasteland. There's not going to be too many mountains or anything around the city of Chonker Speedway to land upon. Everything here is going to be player built. So you're absolutely correct. Leaving as late as possible will give you one of the highest points of elevation you can latch upon. Sunny Chaptricks have to leave a little bit earlier because they were towards that backside. Base up, go for a few shots. They have another launch pad to leave this position as well, but they're just trying to farm as much damage as possible. Now you hear the gliders in the sky. They're popping left and right. 200 damage above for Seti and Chaptricks are looking for a little bit of freedom towards the clouds. They find it. You can see the overview right now. Lots of mid-ground positions. One definitive team on height. Seti's looking for a little bit of a higher elevated base as well. As you look towards the other side on low ground, it's Savage and Benji. They're going to be towards the backside of the zone now. Still finding trouble getting in, but the spicy splash dropped down towards the feet, making things hot. Feisty, fast, and speedy. Good for both teammates, but they're slightly separated too. It's Kuriachi that Benji takes down as he moves across the cars and the dirt on the ground. They're looking pretty good so far, Boot, but they have a long ways to go.
I mean, he had almost 0 builds then. All of a sudden, Kuriachi just into the box, back up to 80 as you get this nice little panning shot. Benji is still stuck in the backside of zone. Yet again, a result of a little bit of late rotations as he has to progress through all of these old builds. He's going to be very careful. Savage is going to try to elevate themselves away from this spot as we have a high gun battle here. Pink and Anas trying to go up on top of there. And these guys, you know, they don't have the most aggressive playstyle, but when it comes to those late moving zones and zone transitions, they love to go on top of it. And they do have Spider-Mans. They do have the momentum to go back up, and they have it for free now, going to 8th moving zone pretty damn soon. And that likely easy spot for them.
Absolutely. Pink actually uses the web shooters to go forward, negate the fall damage, and then build all the way back up, reconnecting the high ground, stopping the weakness of these builds. It's absolutely genius. Past that, Chulex Chico looking for a little bit of revenge on any aggressivity happening towards the top side of this map. They're going to be looking to maybe take over height. Vino and Joe all the way down low. Don't have any launch pads left anymore. Savage actually going down in the feed, but trading Rotary, so I'm not sure where first place is, if they're still alive, but they're having a little bit of trouble in paradise. Joe and Vino, though, they're denying everyone on the slow ground towards the forward side. They're going, just landing shots left and right. Floki, Hook on boxes right beside each other on the backside as well. A little bit of calm for every single team as the zone moves again, but Floki denied on low. It's tough to heal. Hookah wins that one. And then Pink up top with an Os are still looking good to rain on high ground.
Yeah, now it is time for the big impact facts for Veno and Joe. 4 eliminations already with the zone pullback. Now it's going to be a little bit tough because you see them on this logo, but you're going to get smothered just a little bit. They do find the toes of some players. They find another one.
This is crazy.
Good tags coming through. They do have those splashes, you know, to tank zone just a little bit, and he does go for it. But unfortunately, I think that's only going to be Cypher materials. Yes, it is, because those players will completely scuff them backside of zone. They do have those splashes to go back up, though. And, you know, they're making use of the inventory very well here, Shayo, and they still have 10 more seconds in the zone transitions.
They needed the mats. It might just be a little bit, but it gets them a little bit of more space to survive. And Vino shoots another shot again, lands a big one. Not going to get the elimination. Mappy on the backside now. He's also out of mats. They're going towards almost uneditable builds. They have to break it through. Double swinging with a pickaxe is going to be looking good. A little bit of ammo picked up from the backside. Mappy going down. PKR also denied. Pink is still raining absolutely bullet after bullet from the high ground. And Nas is holding on to it still. They haven't been challenged. And now we're down to 5 teams. Pink and Nas, absolute control of the lobby right now. No one can even breathe. But the map gives people the chance to fight each other on low. It's going to be that Speedway warehouse that everyone has a chance to just kind of wrap around, and armored walls pulled up by Vino and Joe to give them a little bit of a situation on the right side. They have a path. They're moving in. Bedmiss Pop. This is so constrictive. They have no space to move, and it's an entire diner they're going to be rocking with on the right side. A person right in front of them, it's default that gets bopped inside his own hometown. Vino now looking for the siphon. Does he get it? Yes, another player on his front side. He denies it too. Somehow Vino and Joe are alive. The final 2v2. Can they make this happen? It's amongst tyrants all the way on high ground who've had no interruption so far. A big shot from Vino and the spray. 30 HP, and he's still finding a way to have a conversation, a voice inside this battle, but the spray comes down. There's no build to hide behind. You can have the best aim in the world, but it's not gonna stop Pink and Anas from getting that win.
That was a valiant effort done, Logan, by Veno and Joe. You know, there was chaos down there. 4 players just running around with no materials with their heads cut off. And Veno and Joe, they come out on top. Very well played game there from Dan. And Pink and Anas, you know, very good fundamentals. Again, taking height on that zone transition. A bit of a lucky zone pullback there for them, considering their material count. You see them finishing this game on 0 materials. And that's a good victory royale there for Pink and Anas. And, you know, these guys are warriors in these finals lobbies. I love it.
Absolutely. It feels like, though, even for me, after watching that game, me and you might have to go outside. I can barely breathe. I thought I was getting sprayed by Pink and Anas from high ground. Seeing Levin and Reese, are you feeling the heat? That was insane.
Mais bon, tu vois aussi à 10 heures, tu vois.
But nope, I'm here. I'm still hanging out. I am dying, but it is okay. I will hold on until my very last breath. My goodness. Guys, this felt like a semi-final round, but like a light version of that. So many of these different duos just executing exactly to perfection. Now, there was a few flubs, I will say, along the way, Reese and Levin, but overall, I was very pleased to see, like, the seriousness from Qualifier 1 and Qualifier 2. You can tell duos here are like, no, I want that top 8. I don't want to go to semifinals. I just want that seat on the bus.
Yeah, I love the way you went, you know, the worst of the last Reese and Levin, like, we're the plus, by the way, like, what's the time, man? Look, I think, bro, this is what we talked in the first game about how let's not get too ahead of ourselves. This is the final run where they didn't have the best first games by any means, but they are 2 teams where the expectations for them were high. Pink and Anas, one of the best final lobby teams in the region. The way they play high, very, very good. They have a great understanding. Execution can be off at times, don't get me wrong, but they got the right things done in that game, and hopefully now moving forward, we probably won't have that many teams contesting.
You never know. You've got guys like Sweezy who aren't here, who's just tight. That's it. That's why when I think it's tight, yeah, that's it. But for Pink and Anas, like, they are.
C'est pas mal le salon qu'ils ont créé.
They made the second round. They won 2 games in each of them. So these guys are capable of winning matches. Slightly bit more competitive games they don't manage. 80 games, roughly what I saw from Qualifier 1 to get you into that kind of top 8, obviously with a couple other points, another one. That was 7 eliminations.
C'est pas mal le salon qu'ils ont créé, mais bon, je vais pas rester là, vous savez.
I'm still seeing these duos, man. They're struggling with Storm Surge. I mean, you look back to like Benji and Mr. Savage, right, who then get gifted the Storm Surge, the duo just falling into their laps and just being eliminated. Boot transfer complete, but as we take a look at our overall standings, they're still holding down that #1 spot. Now, there was a little bit more of a gap coming into this game, but for right now, we're seeing these other duos, right? They're meeting them, right? They're looking to answer back and say, look, that's fine if you want a spot, but you better be aware we're going to join you up there.
Yeah, look, it's one of those things where I think we all know that their early game fundamentals are there. End game, yeah, they got stuff to work on, but mid game as well can be a bit dodgy. The reverse caster curves from Boot coming through on that one was pretty funny as well. I think the big thing for them now is probably hoping they can get a bit of zone. Like let's not deny.
En fait, ça dépend de la direction, tu vois.
Great fundamentals, this and that. But sometimes you need a bit of zone luck to go your way, and so they probably won't want many more south zones if we're just being real. But if they do, hopefully they can use that first game as sort of a learning moment on how to handle it.
Yeah, I think that one of the things you mentioned was interesting. Benji actually managed to get caster curse RNG. I mean, like, how has that happened? Positive caster curse RNG. That's fantastic. Well, and a good team, obviously, we hadn't really picked on too much as Vino and Joe there.
Oui, ça donne du PV.
At the end, taking them up to second place in that match. We didn't see them in the top 10 there in the leaderboard. They're roughly in that kind of 11th to 20th place right now. And that's just because of that bad first game. If they keep this up off spawn, this is going to be super strong.
Yeah, the way they maneuvered, you know, in the same game was really impressive. We talk about the chemistry.
Bon, on va quitter là, moi je pense. Hein. Bon, on va quitter ça. Je vais arrêter le direct aussi. Je vais arrêter tout ça parce que... Je sais pas que, mais je me vois mal rester des heures et des heures dans ça. Bon. Sur ce...